Okay, guys, so welcome today to the Real Gym Experience UK, and today we're at what many regard as the Mecca of bodybuilding, Iron Man Gym, Preston, with the man himself, the mighty Jon Bridge, Mr. Britain champion, a top British coach, and he's kindly given up his Sunday for us to have a chat about his gym, about his bodybuilding history, and hopefully give us a tour of his gym too, and show us what the ethos of the gym is, and let us have a look round and feel the vibe here. So hiya, John, thank you for doing this, mate.
Hiya, John. Yeah, pleased to meet you.
Could you start off by telling us the history of Ironman? When did it begin, and what made you want to open a gym?
Right, yeah, so this year, which is quite apt for today's conversation, it's 25th anniversary year. So 2000 millennium year, that's when we opened, John.
Right.
I opened in a little unit, which was just down from a manufacturing unit where me and my friend used to weld and make gates and railings and such forth.
Right.
A little unit came up and I thought I'll make my own equipment. I made all my own gym equipment and I opened that in 2000, just 1,200 square foot.
Okay.
You know, and then 2006 we expanded, moved here. This is like 10,000 square foot, you know,
right.
And we've got about 160 pieces of kit. Yeah, so 2006 we came along and to this current site, and then, as I say, we've been there ever since and tried to more equipment, and then we got busier and busier. So more, you know, the more people, the more equipment, and then we can have lots of variety and not have people waiting around for stuff. So that's why we expanded, basically.
So where were you training when you decided to open the gym? Where were you training then?
I trained at Reps for many years, just outside Preston, and then I trained at a gym in Kirkham for a couple of years before I came here. A mate of mine, Sam Betts, that's no longer there now. That was a boxing gym and a weights gym. And then when I got this place opened, as I say, that's when I got stuck in. And
were you already competing, John?
No.
So
no.
You competed after owning Ironman?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. 1 year after opening was my first show as a novice.
What year was that? Sorry.
2001, my first competitive season as a novice in, mainly NABBA shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who was your first mentor? Did you have someone guiding you, a coach, or?
Yeah, me coach was Mr. Scotland and a Scottish legend, Chris Sneddon, who deceased, God bless him. There's a tribute in my gym to him.
Yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
And another IFBB pro, Ian Harrison. Between them, Chris and Ian sort of politely pushed and persuaded me into competing.
Yes.
Because I didn't expect to compete, because unlike most of today's so-called bodybuilders who think they're incredible and going to turn pro, I thought at 20 stone I was small and pathetic. So complete different mindset to what we have today.
Yeah.
Very modest, very humble, you know, and over-critical of myself. And those two legends said, you're probably going to be the biggest novice on the planet. Because Ian Harrison said to me, how many shows have you done, John, now? I said, I've not done any yet, I'm just trying to get bigger. He said, bigger? How big are you? I said, well, I'm just over 20 stone. He said, well, you'll be the biggest novice. He said, I've just come 10th in Olympia. He said, I'm trying to get bigger. He said, but Jesus Christ. So between them, they forced me into my first diet and contest.
I mean, Ian Harrison was doing the Olympia in that one. He was the Olympia. He was like one of the world's best.
Yeah.
And he was sort of guiding you, was he?
Yeah. Chris did all my prep, and Ian was in my corner.
Right.
So
how did you meet them two?
I met Chris through a company called Extreme Nutrition.
Oh yeah.
I worked for Extreme. Chris was the owner and I was the Northwest distributor. Ian Harrison were part of the Extreme Nutrition team. We did a few seminars together and got to know him. And then I started manufacturing gym equipment for Ian Harrison.
Right.
Elite Strength Systems, Ian and Brian Dixon and ex-Mr. Britain. Just through my engineering base and you know, being an up-and-coming bodybuilder, they both bullied me into competing.
There's one thing I remember about you, watching you, because I knew who you were, you didn't know me, but I went watching you through, I think, 2007 season.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you go watching the Northwest in Floral Hall and a lad comes on stage and his gym lights up,
Yeah.
the corner of the room lights up.
Yeah.
And I always remember, to this day, when you walked on, the whole theatre lit up.
Yeah.
And I've never seen that, and I thought,
no.
This must be a nice guy because, you know, like, you're very popular.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my gym alone sold 160 tickets.
Right, yeah.
Which Mick Sullivan said was a record, you know, just for one athlete. And I know for a fact there was over 40 that paid on the day.
Right.
So we had over a quarter of the entire audience, you know.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, which was nice. Yeah.
And then, so you won Mr. Britain, didn't you? And you came third in Europe in Mr. Europe, is that right?
No, I didn't do the Europe. The Europes were hit and miss with NABBA back then due to organising. It was my first international show was 2003. I was 5th in the world. That was in Seville. I was in basically 3/5, a third. The third in the Worlds was 2009. That was in Seville, the NABBA Worlds. Yeah, 5th in the universe in France. Yeah, so always in the top 6 in the big ones, and third was my best position. Yeah,
in the Worlds. Yeah, that's what I was getting mixed up. It was the Worlds, wasn't it? Do you think that your career, did you give it everything you had to give when you retired, or do you have any regrets that you could have gone a bit further, or was it? Are you happy that you satisfied that and it was? Because I don't really know when you retired fully. When you decided to retire.
Well, you know, I watched your first one, and that was with Gordon Pascal. Now Gordon's, you know, a true NABBA legend, and Gordon, and one of the great characters of British bodybuilding. You know, there's probably none any better. And life can get in the way of competing, and my biggest obstacle to furthering my international career, and you know, as Paul Sutton and many others said, definitely was more than capable of winning universities and worlds, etc., was this gym.
Yeah.
I put myself second and put everyone else, and I had sometimes 20, 30 athletes competing.
I remember, yeah.
And the gym became, and its members became priority, and I became way down the pecking list.
Yourself, yeah.
So if I hadn't have had this gym, I'd have won the worlds, the universe, and I'd have been a semi-average pro.
And how does that make you feel? Do you feel a regret about that, or did you feel like you made the right choice because you helped a lot of people, didn't you?
Helping people when it's appreciated is an awesome feeling. Getting the sport to progress is an awesome feeling. Helping Mick Sullivan run the Northwest, which was the best area show for decades, was a great privilege and honour, you know, and it was an incredible show, sold out every year. The standard, the lineups, you know, was second to none, and it was proven because when we used to go to the Britain 2 or 3 weeks later, all the Northwest athletes, they were mopping up titles, and it was only the Yorkshire lads, which is called the NABBA North, were really strong competitors too.
Yeah.
We got the odd Scottish and Irish and Welsh lad, true, yes we did, but when you look back, those golden years at the Northwest team, you know, they were, you know, your Carl Jollies, Sarah Jollies, you know, and right back to early days, you know, your Dave Steeles, your Walter O'Malley's, you know, Franny Rain, all them, you know, I could go on all day just naming names, you know. So they're all my inspirations. I went to my first Northwest as a 70-year-old kid. My mates weren't interested. They went to pubs and drinking, and I, at 16, decided I wanted to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know. So I never drank, I never went out, I just lifted weights, and I went to all the shows I could. See, I've got lads coming to my gym, they've never been to a show and they're asking to compete.
Yeah.
Well, you just go away.
The first step is to go watch
the show, God. Well, everything we do and say, John, we've just had a conversation before filming, is based on common sense that isn't common anymore. It's as rare as rocking or shit. right? Having at least some form of a brain inside your head, you know what I mean? So to say you're going to do a show, but you've never been to a show,
To watch one. Yeah.
is like, it's bizarre, absolutely bizarre. And this is commonplace.
Yeah.
They talk absolute nothing other than drivel.
Because the first thing you want to do is see the standard, innit? See what you're going to be up against, see what's going to be expected of you. And how can you do that unless you go watch?
Yeah, and get a feeling for the day's events and whatnot. It's all nonsense.
Yeah.
You know, I was brought up in a very strict home, and everything was done step by step, and it all made sense.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm going to actually develop some form of a muscular physique before I start asking about competing. Now they ask about competing before they've even got an ounce of muscle. You know, you think, Jesus Christ, what has it become? What has it become?
Do you think social media's...
Yes, it's ruined it. Ruined bodybuilding. Yeah. It ruined most things in life. Actually, it's caused that many. You know, I'm a Christian. You know, I have faith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I also, as I say, you know, I have a belief that you look after people, John.
Yeah.
You look after people, and all social media became was a platform for me. It developed the most narcissistic side of people that you've ever could believe. There used to be one or two narcissists. Now there's millions and millions of them. Every day talking about nothing other than themselves. Selfie after selfie. The day I want to know what you've had for dinner, right, will be the day I jump off the Forth Bridge. You know what I mean? Goodness me. Just keep it shut. I've got these things here, so I'm into me. I build trucks, American trucks, hot rods, you know what I mean? And I have a workshop and custom motorcycles. You mentioned Ash at Better Bodies, you know, Ash is into his bikes as well.
Yeah.
I've got other things going on in my life, and having to tell someone what time I had a shit and what I ate for my dinner, you know what I mean? So these people, they can basically kiss my ass, you know what I mean? The old time of bodybuilding, when we used to go up there, we used to meet Bernie Cooper, Ian Chambers from Cumbria, Joe Walker, and then we had Barry Vormer out, Daz Smith, you know what I mean? And all the lads, and then Ian Wellses would pop along, and you'd all sit outside Southport Theatre. You're all competing against each other. You're all friends, chatting away.
Yeah.
There was 1,200 people waiting to go and watch, you know what I mean? And it was 20 to 30. You've done the NABA novice job where you were successful, and there were 29, 30 lads on the stage, not 2 or 3. And when you come third and there's 2 or 3 competing, please don't brag that you come third. You know, if you win it and there's no one in the show, and don't brag about it. It isn't your fault, but if you win a show and you were the only entrant, and we've seen them on social media bragging about winning a tournament and there was the only goddamn person on it. To me, you're an absolute clown of a person. You know what I mean? Zero respect. You respect real people in my world, not fake people. And if you want to be fake, then as I say, don't come to my gym, please. Please, bear my suffering. Give me a break. Real people, you're welcome.
Do you think you've got a lot of real people, John? Is it like still a community in your gym?
We're pretty good compared to other places, mate, because I'm not, you know, I don't advertise, I don't market, I don't do anything. Word of mouth. Is he a good lad? Yeah, we'll bring him along.
Yeah.
If he's not a good lad, he'll probably go after a week or 2.
So when you first set this gym up, was there many gyms around it?
No.
They've cropped up, haven't they?
No. I was telling someone about our female weight training and bodybuilding per se. When I first went to a gym, 1980, the perception was from all the media and TV that if you was a female and you picked up a weight, you would literally turn into a male. The newspapers and everything. And when we walked into a gym in the 1980s, there wasn't any women in the leisure centres, in the commercial gyms, in the so-called backstreet gyms. And that was because of this portrayal that a weight turns you into a man. you know, and these myths, you see, and that perception took years and years and decades to break down. And now the majority of gym goers, as you know, are female. You know, it's weird, and I mean 0% of females. None of my girlfriends, my sisters, my mother, none of my friends' mums, girlfriends, sisters, nobody, unless she was very butch, would enter a gym because of the fear of turning into a man.
That's a positive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a positive, but it's something worth mentioning. You know, one thing me and Gordon and the other more mature gentlemen have is wisdom. Knowledge and wisdom. There's a reason coaches are older, So I had a lad down here, he had a coach who was 23, and oh my God, everything the 23-year-old coach told him was incorrect. What? Did you see a 23-year-old Premiership manager or a 23-year-old England Rugby Union international coach, or any other for that matter? There's a reason. I don't have youth and vitality, but I've got a vast wealth of knowledge and I've got wisdom like you'd never believe. Fact. So you have a young team and you have a wise, knowledgeable coach. Same again, it's all... If you have to explain this to people, you know, you have lads down here, my mate's dad's put me on a diet, is he good like? Well, he used to be like, what's he... Well, he's a bit fat now. And you look at the diet's, there's even bacon and sausages in it, you know. And you look through it and you think, this is absolutely 100% wrong, no ifs or buts. And then you look at the fat bloke who's wrote him a diet and you think, do you really think that was a wise choice? You know what I mean? But you let him off because he's young and stupid, Young and stupid, and I'm here to advise and help the young lads, you know what I mean? From training 3 hours on arms, 6 times a week, you know. They do though. Wisdom.
If you go to these commercial gyms, you're not getting the help that obviously we offer in gyms like ours. And
no expertise down at our gyms, Joe.
And it's part of the package, isn't it? You know, when you come down, you're going to get, if you want it, it's there, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course it is. I'm the only champion that owns a gym in this city and beyond this city. None of all the others are just corporates. They're just men in suits that stick someone on been a level 3 and he's the head gym instructor, you know. Knows nothing. What's he done?
That's the passion versus just whether it's just a business or whether it's a passion. Which gyms like this are a passion for the owner, aren't they?
Well, the great Frank Richards used to write a monthly column in Flex magazine called Frankly Speaking. Frank Richards, ladies and gentlemen, used to train with Arnold in the early 70s and became a great, iconic British champion from that bodybuilding Mecca, Wigan. And I went to see Frank in some seminars and chatted with him. And he said in an article in Flex magazine, when I say he, I mean a legendary champion, not my mate's dad, you know what I mean? I listen to people that's been there and done it. And he said, when you choose a gym, why not choose a gym run and owned by a champion over the gym down the road that's owned and run by a nobody? Wow. And Frank's saying this, and this is in the 1980s, John. Why aren't people wise? What did I do? I chose to go to the gym in Preston. There was one called Body Shapers, where all the champions trained. And when I went there at 16, I was the thinnest, weakest, youngest, most pathetic person in there. And after my first session, I went home and my dad had to calm me down. Calm down, son. Dad, and this bloke, he had these arms, they were bigger than my head, Dad. And this other bloke with long black hair, he lifted this weight and I couldn't even pick any of the plates up. They were that heavy, Dad. Calm down, son. Inspiration, motivation. I didn't go to Forward Leisure Centre where there are a load of fat old people and women, you know what I mean, lifting nothing, and then go and say, oh, Dad, I'm better than all them. No, nonsense. And that's where people are. There's a gym over there called JD Sports, full of God knows what. You know, there's no machines, there's no nothing, there's no advice, but it's social media trendy. All there is in there, mate, is tripod after tripod after tripod of insecure people, nobodies, thinking that they're celebrities. Thinking that you're a celebrity. Me and you doing this, we're not a celebrity. We'll be on YouTube and whatnot. We're working class gym owners who know a thing or two, and we're just trying to put a point across and let people have a little bit of interest in what real gyms, our mindset basically, isn't it? That's all I'm here for.
And why people choose gyms like that over this, and it's I think this young generation now are not giving gyms like this a chance. For whatever reason, there's a barrier. Like you say, they probably want to be the biggest fish in the pond. Or
they do. So I'll give you the psychology. Most people, including a lot of my friends, they won't train here because of their insecurities. They don't want to feel inadequate. Instead of me at 16 being inspired, don't be hard on yourself. You can't all be big and muscular, but you've got to start somewhere. The place where you're going to progress the fastest is the place to train, surely. Go to JD and look the same in 10 years, or come here after 10 months and completely transform. Why? Because I will put them on the right path. They will do the right exercises. They will eat the right food. They go there to a gym full of nobodies and they get told off a level 3 PT, well, there's your diet plan and there's your training plan. Off someone who knows nothing, you're going to take advice and 10 years later look the same. But why? They come down here, they feel intimidated, they think, everyone's going to laugh at me. No, it isn't. It isn't like that. As I say, I'm about equality. Everyone looks after. The only people that need to worry down here are bad people, because you're not welcome. But anyone who's a nice person, hard-working and honest is welcome. Anyone who's fake, loves themselves and thinks they're better than everybody else, you stay at your commercial gyms where there's many of you. Like-minded people, idiots for idiots, you know what I mean? I've got better things to do. I'll build hot rods. You don't even know what a hot rod is, you know what I mean? You think a Tesla's the, I'm on another level, mate. And it's just good. People like Pascal, Dave Steele, all these, Walter O'Malley, who's poorly, bless him. Get well, Walter. We love you to bits. A legend. These people are real. When I say legend, I mean legend. Not nobodies who are celebrities. An influencer. I've influenced people, and he has. From what we've done in our sport. And it is a sport. I've dieted that much, I've nearly died, right? Don't you think you know anything? You know nothing compared to me. Influencers. So, you know my feelings on social media. The day social media becomes real, I'll applaud it. I'll stand on top of the bloody roof of this truck and clap louder than any man alive. But it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. We'll be putting this out on YouTube, I believe. And I like my YouTube. I can pick and choose. But one thing, I'm not on social media because I can't be part of that world. I'm not a hypocrite, you see. I'm not listening to all that. And the clickbait and everything else you see in here, you know what I mean? All the lies just to get a response, and all the drama. People say to me, what have you done at weekend, John? This is as an ex-champion bodybuilder. I've been trying different tea bags lately, and I like to do a nice tea tasting weekend with me and my partner. Currently this week, John, I'm on Twinnings, and I'm not overly impressed with the Twinnings brand. It was hyped up, a bit like some bodybuilders actually, but no, I find I like Lancashire tea and obviously Yorkshire tea, and then I'll try different biscuits. Since I've retired from bodybuilding, I'm quite a fan of biscuits, Dunking in particular. So what did you do Saturday night, John? I drank some Yorkshire tea and tried various brands of biscuits, ginger being my favourite, closely followed by a digestive. And that's where I'm at. And everyone, stop taking yourself seriously like you're a superstar. Have a laugh. Me and John's been places. I've got one of the best gyms in country here. This is who I am. I'm just a laugh, right? I did all right at bodybuilding because I was genetically good and I like to train hard. I didn't want to drink. I didn't want to tell everyone how many women I'd slept with. I weren't interested. Just wanted to lift heavy and try and get as close to Arnold Schwarzenegger. I walked into Gordon's gym at Chotex Mill when I was 16. I got a bus there, and I'd seen him in bodybuilding magazines with his bloody moped, that perm, curly bloody hair. I know he'll be watching this, Gordon. And I walked in, the typical Gordon. I didn't know it was him. I made a right fool of myself. There was a bloke sat on a bench with two lovely looking ladies. And I walked over, I said, "Excuse me, mate, is Gordon Pascal about, please? I want to pay for a session." He said, "I'm Gordon." I went, oh, sorry. And he won't remember that. Yeah. But I went there because he was someone who inspired me. And he was in all the magazines with his Ultimate Nutrition. He was in all the adverts, you know, for the supplements. Page after page, and it were pictures of Gordon. And he competed. He competed for the British against, in the EFBB then, Angelita Lester and Ian Dow, two of Britain's greatest. And it was a really close contest between the three. You know, those people, been there and done it, stamped, sealed, fact, real as it gets. Other than that, if you're asking advice of someone who hasn't, you need to look at yourself in a mirror, knock yourself on the head with a large mallet, and get real. Otherwise, you're going down the road to nowhere. Road to nowhere. How many people have we seen, John, over years, trained year after year after year, and you know how much muscle they've put on? Less than what my 90-year-old mother possesses. And they don't ask why. If they'd have gone to his gym, a real gym, Jay's gym, and asked his advice, they'd have plenty of muscle, but because they went down that road to nowhere, they ended up looking absolutely abysmal.
I think like you've just said about Gordon, Gordon's obviously had an impact on you, and you have had an impact on so many people, and that's something that comes from these gyms, isn't it? Is the gym owner does have a positive. You've had a very positive influence on my life. I'm very grateful for what you've done for me, and I know a lot of lads do feel that way.
We did a training video, didn't we?
I don't know what happened to that.
15 years ago. Or something. And we've trained down here many times. We've got you ready for shows, and you know, it was all part of it. But don't forget, bodybuilding was always underground when we started, and a bit like I'm a biker, a proud biker, and we're the same. We're persecuted by many, frowned upon, as if you're the black sheep of the family. No, I just happen to like riding motorbikes, you know, with my friends, and bodybuilding was underground. That was frowned upon. It was misunderstood. You know what I mean? But we didn't do things to make people like us. We did it because it was our quest, our path in life. And when we started, I remember I got a little booklet with me York weight set, and it had different physiques from 50s and 60s, and they were like athletic physiques. And I used to think, one day I'll get to that big. And this is where the word progression comes in. I got that big and thought, I want to get as big as him now, and then as big as him. And then when I saw Pumping Iron, it was Arnold then. And it was weird how I thought, if I get to 12 stone, I'll be happy, I'll stay at that. But at 12 stone, I wasn't. So then it was 13. And this is where the American ethos is. Bodybuilding it originated in America. The trucks, the engines, everything in America is bigger, bigger, bigger. You know what I mean? And I like that because it was a challenge. People don't want the challenge now. They want to do a show in 6 months. What happened to that toughness, that inner steel? I'm going to get that big that when I walk on stage, people are going to cry. You know what I mean? Tim Belknap, who won the NABBA Universe in 85, I think it was. 230 pound, 5'2". Huge beast of a man. Not aesthetic, not classical, not Frank Zane, the opposite. Huge man. Tim, why do you want to get so big? He said, when I go on the beach with my family, Huntington Beach in California, I don't want people to come up and admire me. I don't want people to applaud. I want people to be physically sick all over the sand. He said, I want to shock and disturb anybody and everybody. And I thought, that's like a Branch Warren type character to me. And Branch is one of all real bodybuilding's favourites, you know, because he's brutally hardcore. Metroflex Gym. I mean, someone sponsor John to go to Metroflex and interview Brian Dobson over there in Texas, because I want to be, the UK's Metroflex gym. That's what it's all about. This is why people go, oh, you need to do this and that. No, I don't want hanging baskets. I don't want glitter balls, and I don't want wallpaper in the gym. I want you to come in here and think, Jesus Christ, this is heavy, this is hardcore. Just like where Ronnie, where Branch, Johnny Jackson, and all those great Texans train, isn't it?
Yeah.
The most hardcore gym possibly in the world. Yeah. And that's what I want, and that's what I tried to develop. And that was great that Brian, Metroflex, maybe Brian will watch this one day. You inspire me, Brian, as a gym owner, the greatest gym owner that in the world.
Yeah.
Gordon as a gym owner.
Yeah.
All these people, Walter O'Malley's gym, used to go up to Walter's on a Saturday, and Tom Young's asked us to go up. Tom's took it on now, that great gym at Warrington.
Yeah.
You'll have to get up and see Tom.
Spoken to Tom.
Me and Gaz Wilson. Gaz is still looking like a beast at 18 stone.
Yeah.
Me and Gaz are going up on a Sunday. But I told Tom I've been moving house, and then a few weeks we'll be up at Tom's, and hopefully, as I say, you'll be, because that is it's a legendary gym, Walter's.
Yeah.
And Walter was, what a lovely man. What a lovely man. He never took selfies. He never told people 10 times a day what he was doing. Why would I want to be like those and not like Walter? I wanted to be like Walter, mate.
Yeah.
Hey, that's why you're sat here.
Yeah.
Because like Walter, I developed a gym, I kept it real, and I stayed with my feet on the ground. Walter never used to stick his nose up with his selfies while people and be rude to people. He was a gentleman. A gentleman.
Yeah.
Frank Richards, all of them.
This is something that I've shown through the videos that we've done. This is the 5th one now. And every gym owner's been a gentleman. Like you say, if someone's a nice guy, you'll do anything for them. I know how many people you have helped and that you do help. And that's what it's all about, getting rid of this fear that people have got of coming to gyms like this. This is where you're going to get the help. This is where you're going to get the equipment. This is where you're going to get the atmosphere. It's gyms like John's, mine, and the gyms that I've visited so far. So if you want to make progress, you choose the right gym in your area. On that note, John, would you mind giving us a tour round your gym?
Yeah, of course we will. Yeah, we'll have a look. Don't be too scared. Yeah.
Okay, so John's going to take us round now. Have a look inside the gym, see what it's all about. So if you don't mind leading the way.
Yeah, sorted. Right, John, this in general is where half of our leg area. Mainly free weight leg machines.
So plenty of choice with pendulum.
With 38 pieces. If you get that side in, that's this is called a Mighty 7.
That's who you spoke about for.
Preston, He had a world record at leg press back in the 90s. He had 34-inch quads, so this was, this keep him smiling, every time anyone trains legs, he's watching,
Yeah.
And biggest legs you've ever seen.
Leg presses down there, lion squat, I think.
Yeah, we've got, I don't know, about 10 leg presses and God knows what else. Yeah, so that's that.
You still buy equipment, John? Are you still always evolving?
Not really, because I've got everything and I can't improve it. Yeah, so, but this is our downstairs area, and then with free weights, chest, some more leg stuff here, power cages, Smiths.
All the leg extension
some more leg stuff, another power cage, 2 of them. And then we've got first back floors up here. As you can see, we're like training back down here as well.
This is the first back for all the back equipment.
JD Sports has 3 back machines and I've got 31. So this is what annoys me, John. It's not even comparable. It's not comparable.
Yeah, so it's like you're not only you're getting the advice, the knowledge, the atmosphere, you're getting the equipment. You're just spoilt for choice in here.
Yeah, but you don't wait for stuff. You know, there's
Yeah.
queues in some at gyms. If you're queuing, you're not training.
Yeah.
If you're not training, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
Just go home, put a cup of tea on.
Yeah, yeah.
You come in here, you get on what you want because we've got 3s and 4s of nearly everything. You know what I mean?
So you're not waiting around.
Yeah, but these things are all thought. It's not just happened by chance.
Yeah.
It's a plan devised by me.
Yeah, it's all handpicked.
Yes, it is. And every machine's functional instead of your commercial gyms where they look nice and they're absolutely shocking. They don't work in flow with your joints and your physiology.
Yeah.
It's completely wrong designs of your work. You know all of that, your gym kit.
Yeah.
This builds muscle. We've got one of Britain's top bodybuilders training, so that's a trait for you. Mr. Gaz Wilson trains like a lion. This is back floor 2, second one. Hi, Gaz. Hi, Big Aaron. Yeah, so one thing over the years, we've had some incredible bodybuilders. We've had like Sir Robbie Robinson, we've had Branch Warren, Tony Freeman, and then all the British greats, Tony Mount, Carl Jolly, Adam Mickey's, you know, current Mr. Universe, Gaz Wilson here, my friend who helped me out here, Zane, and loads of other great bodybuilders down here. Flex Lewis, you know, and all have one thing to say, like, wow, you know what I mean? Just pan that around and show everybody this is what a real gym looks like. 10,000 square foot of hardcore Metroflex. It ain't Texas, it's Preston. It's cold and wet, but other than that, that's what we've got. Come on, well said. Yes. Yes. There you go. That's our champion's trade. Don't forget a selfie, guys. Don't forget that selfie. Get your tripod out, lad. Yeah, put your lipstick on. Yeah, we've got, same again, these are the old school weights, you know, the ones that don't build muscle.
Old school. Of dumbbells there.
Yeah.
Like John was saying before, you're not going to be waiting around.
No. Hiya, mate. Right, we'll go upstairs. Some more kit. If you want to just take a picture of that from here, get a perspective. This is a floor just dedicated to hamstrings. Most gyms have 2 hamstring machines.
Serious range and choice.
We'll go up to top floor, 3rd floor. We've got the cardio up here, that dreaded word, cardio. And then arms and some other specialist stuff, abs and stuff. And then my friend has that Thai boxing set up at the other end. Cheers, Tim. Go on, mate, you're welcome. Right, well that's,
That concludes it all.
Yeah, that's it, I think. That's all the square footage.
So that concludes our tour of Ironman Gym Preston, and thank you to Jon for giving up your Sunday to show us around. Really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
cheers, John.
If you enjoyed this, please like, comment and share it. Let your mates see it. Thank you, Jon, again for your time today.
Yeah, thanks a lot, folks. Cheers, John. I'd like to say I've known John a long time, a great bloke, and any help we can give him with his website and his YouTube channel, just as I say, like and subscribe. He's going around all the proper real gyms, and we're just trying to get people aware of that we're still about, here to help. That's all.
That's it.
Yeah. Thank you, John Tuplin.
Thank you, Jon Bridge. Nice one.